Hello, my name is Yakymchuk. This is a long story short, and today we're gonna speak about the essence of the story. So, a few words about myself. I'm a documentary director, and I'm working in LINZA production, the production studio in Ukraine. We do a lot of work to all the NGOs in Ukraine and all around the world. And we do different formats, the explainer videos, the animation, the documentaries, reportage, commercials, and whatever. So a lot of work was done since the 3 years. We already worked 3 years or 5 years in this in the field. So yeah, we have that experience for that. And today I'm gonna tell you about how to make your story really nice and how to make it interesting and how to create a great storytell. So firstly, before we even start, we have to think over some questions, because it's not so easy to get on and do the script writing. Before you even start, you have to think about the purpose of what you are doing. It is about all the things that you do in your life, but especially for the video production. The trick is that video production, it is very expensive type of doing. It's expensive thing. So you have to think over what are you doing, why are you doing, and to prepare for this. And this preparation is probably the most important part of all the video production that you do. So the first question is, what is your question? Why are you doing all this, what you're trying to do? So this is a communication. It's not about a video as it is. The video is not the purpose of what you're doing. It is an instrument. So you're using this instrument to explain something, or to perceive, or to persuade, or to observe, or to convince, to tell some emotions. Well, there are a lot of desires why you can do it, but you have to know your aim, you have to know your purpose, and that was the essential thing. So there are a lot of formats, but before we can go to this formats, we have to ask ourselves these questions. First one is, what is the purpose? We already said that, and this is the very important one, and to know what you're gonna be speaking about in your video. After that, you will think about the duration, about the format, about the animation or documentary, or how you will film it. But first of all is why you're doing it, and what is your expectation, what you're trying to achieve. Like you want to find out some I don't know, to explain something to somebody, or you try to raise the brand awareness of some brand, or to make a commercial to sell something. You have to know exactly why you're doing and what's going to be your result. And that's the second one. The third one is what is the main idea that you're trying to communicate. It is an elemental, basically, observation of something, to give the information for the people, for the viewers to understand something by themselves, or it is you try to convince them in something, or whatever. So think over about your idea. Why? What is the great story that you're trying to tell to these people? Because if you have no idea in what you're doing, it's going to be very fun and great video without any continuous, with any echo after the finish of it. And finally, who are your audience? Who will be your viewers? Like, for whom you're doing this video? This is very important thing, because you can't do this video for everybody. you have to decide what type of person is going to be. It's going to be a young person he's a student, or have no money and think what he's going to do in his life, or it is a woman and she's 45 years old and she has 2 children, for example. This is a different type of audience, and they think about this world, and they communicate, and they perceive all this world that around them in a different way. So you have to think about this auditory, and after that find out the way, what tone of voice you're gonna use in your video to be closer to this auditory, to communicate with them by their own tongue, like to be free to them, to be sure that they will understand what you're trying to tell. Yeah, that's the most important thing, I think, because not for all people it is obvious that that you can't do the universal video. All the popular one, even the popular ones in the internet, they are target on some auditory, and you have to do it as well. Now let's go to the next slide, and after you finish all that and you will write down the answers to these questions, you will have the basic information to make a synopsis. So what is the synopsis and the logline? Logline is synopsis. First of all, let's start from the synopsis. Synopsis is it should give the accurate snapshot of the film or of the video. It is 2, maximum 3, perhaps 4 paragraphs that describing what I'm trying to tell. So you don't have to write much. You probably will have a possibility, or you wanted to make a big writing, but you don't have to do that. The shorter is better. So the information that you have to have in this video, the only information is going to be in this synopsis. It's who is this film, who is in the film, what happens, when it happens, where it happens, how all of this will be shown, and that's it. So it's the essential information for you, not for commissioners or the viewers or anybody else. It is essential information for you to focus on your story, because if you will not be focused on your story, you will lose a sight, and you will lose yourself in this doing. You'll try to do something, and this is going to be not really into you, not gonna show anything, show no information to your target audience. Like, you can do a lot of cool shots, a lot of cool things in your video, animation and so on, and CGI, VGI and whatever, VFX, but without the straight line of storytelling, have no sense. So be sure that you understand this information, and you understand who is in the film, what happens, when it happens, where it happens, and how all of this will be shown. And when it's done, you can go to the logline. So, but before that, let's see this this example of the synopsis. So, firstly, the example, I'm gonna read it. In November 2017, Hurricane Molly tore through St. Jackie's, Central America at 150 miles an hour. So you see this, in November 2017, it's when Hurricane Molly, it's what happens, and 150 miles an hour is still what happens. And after that, killing 200 people, destroying thousands of homes, and causing more than 400 million of damage to infrastructure and business. In the immediate aftermath, residents abandoned the city. The task of reconstruction seemed overwhelming. 10 months on, however, over 90% of the population is back, and the stories of 3 individuals provide a moving insight into the ongoing struggle to rebuild. So we will talk about 3 individuals in this Hurricane Melly, and after it was like finished, and we know what's going on here. Like, it is essential to say this 4 facts: who, what, when, and where. Okay, so after you finish that, you go to the logline. So you make everything shorter. It is very important to do that, because the more you will focus on what is the main in what is important in what you're doing, the better video you will get in the end. So the logline is about 150 characters, including spaces. It is the length of the tweet. So when you're tweeting in the Twitter, you make 150 characters, not more. So, and if you can't describe what your film is a logline, how will you pursue the platform to invest money to allow you to make your film? Think about, and that's it. Because you don't have a possibility to write more than that amount of words. So it is very short amount of text, and it is quite difficult to make this type of text, but you have to do that. If you want to make a good story, you have to know how to describe it in one sentences. Just imagine you found a commissioner somewhere in a film festival and trying to tell him your story and to sell it, and you have just one moment to explain to him why your story is so good. So, and you're doing like this. A drivers collective in rural Colombia struggles to provide a market ship transport service on an old rail station in the face of government neglect. That's it. So we already interested in what is going on, and we want to know that how this film gonna looks like. Or Trump-used war veteran Serhiy returns home to Kiev after 3 years to face the challenge of rebuilding both his domestic life and himself. So we know everything that we have to know. We know that character name is Serhiy. Is gonna so everything's gonna be happening in Kiev, and we know that he is challenging some problems in his life, and we basically know what's going on here, and that's what you have to do to understand what your story is gonna be about. Yeah, and that's it. If you will have a synopsis and the logline, it's gonna be much easier for you to focus on the main aim of your video, on your video making. Yeah, let's talk about format. So now we can go to find out what format will we choose to communicate our idea. So we made an idea by writing a synopsis and logline, and now we're gonna choose how we're gonna express it. Well, we can take a documentary film. It's very emotional and observation type of communicating. You can even try to do some feature film, or even the music video, the music clip, or the explainer. If you have to explain something difficult, you don't have to spend time on observation like in documentary filmmaking, but it's better for you to make some short explainer, or even a series of short explainer. So think about that. Think about what is more suitable for your story, what you're trying to do. Like, maybe it's better to make an interview with somebody. Maybe your character know all the information. You don't have to waste time on observation or making animation or whatever, or the voiceover. You just need him or her to tell you all the story that's needed. So yeah, think about that, And after you'll choose all this, how to choose it, just watch YouTube and find out some references, and I think it's gonna be enough for you to understand how they looks like and what to choose. Okay, after that, it is very important to watch the platform output, because you will have your video on some platform for sure. So it is cinema, for example, it is the easiest one, but it can be a Facebook or Instagram, and this is very different type of platforms, because for Facebook and Instagram, it is very important to have a hook to this video. Has to be very short and have this 2:2 format, not a widescreen. So yeah, it is very important to you to understand what you're gonna be shooting for which platform. But because for cinema, it is easier to show something prolonged, something long, something big, and with the titles in the start. But don't do that. Don't give the titles on the beginning of your video. That's not a good idea, I think. And so think about the platform: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, for example. It's really new type of platform, and we already done some of serious fiction, serious features series for the TikTok. So it's like 10 seconds videos with the storytelling. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that today. So think hard about your video. Can it be made shorter or longer? Maybe you already know what's gonna be the duration of that video. Do you need a voiceover? Why the voiceover? When we gonna why we even need a voiceover in our videos? Because to make video more straight and shorter, and to explain something faster, it's better to have a voiceover. But if it is a documentary filmmaking and observational story, you don't have to do that, because the voiceover now the society right now feels like perceive the voiceover like some God voice is trying to put some ideas in your head. So think about that. And don't forget that you don't want to put any ideas in the heads of your audience. You're just showing something, and they will decide what to do with this information. That's the better way for you to make videos and to make communication. Let them to decide what to do with this information that you are doing right now. Okay, and we are moving to the storytelling right now, and let's talk about what is the most important when you're doing the video. So what are you trying to do? Except of transferring some communications or some ideas, some notions or some concept to your audience. Except of that, you trying to hook the attention firstly, to hold it while the video goes, and finally to make an echo. It's the most important part for me, because after the audience will finish to watch your video, they should think about your video, to discuss it with their friends, to share it. And this is the echo. This is the most important part, because you have to push their intellectual process in their head. So yeah, so and now we're gonna talk about how to make all of these three, how to hook the attention of the audience, how to hold their attention, and finally how to make this echo. Okay, in this for this we will need a storytelling. Storytelling has a lot of principles, and I choose just 3 of them because they are the most important, I think. There are much more, but for that you have to finish the film school or journalist school or whatever, or storytelling school. But basically for me, it is three of them. So the conflict, the empathy, and the suspense. And now we're gonna talk about them separately. First of all, is a conflict. Is the main thing of all your stories. I mean, literally all of them. There are no story without the conflict. And now I'm talking not about just conflict between two people. It can be conflict person versus nature, person versus itself, person versus society. You can choose whatever you want, and you have to find it in your story. So you have a character, and this character tries to what he's trying to do, what's the problem in his life, what the issues, what he's trying to solve, and where does he go? Like, he has some aims, and you're trying to tell that, and you're trying to express it in your video. So show that and see it in your story. You have to be attentive about all that and find out the conflict. If your story, if your character has no, well, that's probably impossible, but still, if you have see that the conflict of the story is not strong enough, well, you will have some problems with that. So you have to find out a great conflict that will attract you first. Firstly, it has to be your own conflict, like you have to feel it. You have to be attracted by it, by yourself. And after that, you will think about the audience, etc., etc. But think about the conflict. It has to be there in your video. And for showing what is the conflict, I'll show you some video, but it is actually a film called 10-Meter Tower. Well, it is very well known in some documentary fields, and documentary filmmakers know that film very much, because this film is an essential of, like, this film is all about the conflict. So the trick is that the 10-meter tower, you know that in the pool they have the biggest one, and it is very hard to jump from it. It's very I would be very afraid to do that. And these people in this film are afraid too, because they have an aim to like, if they will jump from this tower, the filmmakers will give them $50 or something. If not, they will not take anything. So and the filmmakers could take a shot of them thinking about this, and before they jump, and this is very cool to see how they behave in this condition of a problem, of the conflict, self-conflict, to jump or not to jump. So I'm gonna press not from the beginning and think, well, let's put it from the beginning and see how it goes. On this tower, and their emotions while they're doing this. Well, it's really big, 10 meters, and it's quite hard to jump. And you see this emotion, trying to do that, but it's not so hard, so easy to overcome the self.
De vill inte vara sån, men det är lite högre än vad det ser ut alltså.
Nej, för fan, jag vågar inte.
Nu kör vi. Nu kör vi. Lugna mig.
You can watch it by yourself after this live presentation. And because it's free to watch, you can just write in Google 10-meter towel, you're gonna find it. And this is a brilliant film. And as you can see, there are a lot of interesting stuff in here, because it is interesting to watch how they behave. Just you don't have any storytelling, like there are no characters or something. You just have these people that is thinking of jumping or not, and this is the pure conflict. So this film is about conflict, and you have to see it to understand how to make conflict in yours. Then we go to the empathy. So look at him, he's just like me. You know that, you saying that all the time while watching some good movies. Well, this effect you'll have to find out in your video. You have to make this to happen in your video. Like, to look at him, he's just like me. Because the empathy is the feeling that we are feeling. We feel what this person felt. And that's what make us to continue watch this video, continue to watch it. And the empathy is essential you have to find out a good contributor, a good character in your video, and this character has to be very similar to your audience. So you have to find out firstly probably a character, and then you're gonna find an audience, but you can do it in any way. So you have to understand that you have to empathize it to this character by yourself as a director, as a maker of this video, filmmaker, but think about the audience. Is it close enough for them? And after that, think about the tone of voice he has. Well, if we're speaking about documentary filmmaking, yeah, it's one thing to discuss. But talking about some feature films or the commercials, they always try to find out the people who are similar to you, to make you to empathize to these characters. And that's the thing that you have to do for your explainers video, even for animation, even the style of your animation or your video has to be empathized. Like you have to understand what your audience like and put this in your video. And this slide is more about the character, sorry, but yeah, it's about all what you're doing in visual storytelling. Well, and think about the tone of voice, the way this person behave, the way she speaks. Everything is important to create an empathy in your video. To just keep in mind, right? This. Then the final one for me is the suspense. This it's really cool for that. I think, because you're waiting for something. You're always waiting for something. Just remember all your films, you know, something is going on and you're waiting for something happen and it's not happening. And this feelings is still a trick for a director to make you to watch this video. And this what makes me or somebody else to continue watching and to be involved in what's going on. So the suspense, you have to move your story and to answer some question to the auditory, but be clever. Like don't don't show all cards. Like, you have a lot of information to tell, but give some question and then answer one, and then give some more. A good storyteller not talking too much. He's just making some signs or telling one answer and ask more question. And so it's better to play a game with your audience, not to just be a boring communicator that just talking and talking. Be creative. Do something to impress and to hold them. To just I'm gonna tell you some truth about this life, and you stop on this sentence, and after that you're starting your video from the scratch, and they're thinking, what is he trying to say to me? What the truth of the life? What the keg did? And in the end of this video, you will like show all the cards, but I will be waiting for that moment. While I'll be waiting for that moment, I will be watching your video, what is important for you, and that's it. So the suspense and what we had. So we had conflict, empathy, and suspense. Be attentive about all that, and be cautious, and don't forget about them in your story. Well, you don't have to have all of them, like, but it's better to have them. Yeah, it's gonna be more effective and productive, and it's gonna be cool to have that in your video to make it more more effective doing your communication, to receive what you're trying to receive by this communication. So but talking about the story, the big story, like big storytelling, like a feature film, full-length film, or even short films, like from 10 minutes, it's always an odyssey. So you have, yeah, it's literally an odyssey in every cases. So starting from Romeo and Juliet till the Avengers, and so on and so on. All the story has this odyssey, because you're starting from status quo, and then the call of adventure, then your character departure to some special world, and has some crisis, some problems in his way, and finally is a resolution, new life, and something else. It's a big story that it's hard to tell, basically, but it has this unique structure, this very, I think, easy structure. And if you want to create some good big story, you have to put this in the background of your script. But talking about the short one, about, for example, the commercial, you don't have time for this whole Odyssey and so on. So you make a punchline film. Well, let's talk about that. A punchline film, well, you know what does mean. The punchline is the phrase that use the idiom called that comedian use all the time. So while you're doing the anecdote, you have two parts that anecdote consists of. So the setup and the punchline. The setup is a short exposition, so some preparation, something is going on. And after that, you have the punchline, a sudden turn around, like to have a wow effect. That I'm gonna show you some examples. I'm gonna show you the video that is the punchline film, basically. So it is only a visual storytelling, no words or something. Gonna stop it for a while. So make it a little bit not so loud. So you have something going on. Yeah, you have some prediction. You wait for something to happen, and finally, it's not happening the way that you want it. So that's how punchline functions. punchline film works and the anecdote works. So you find this, you make this prediction of something, and after that you like breaking it, making something different, something strange, or even something enormous and nonsense or whatever. So to surprise your audience, and yeah, that's a very important task if you're trying to do a short story. For example, I'm gonna show you these examples in anecdotes. I hate Russian dolls is a setup. I hate the Russian dolls. They are so full of themselves. That's a punchline. The setup. What do you call a beer with no ears? The punchline is B. What are the shark's two most favorite words? Man overboard. Yeah, and etc. etc. You know that anecdotes, they always have the setup and the punchline, and your films, your short films about 10 seconds or 15 seconds gonna have this punchline form. I was talking about the TikTok videos, and they have this form too. You can watch them again and you'll find this the setup and the punchline. And think about that while doing your story. If you try to express something very short, think how to make it like an anecdote, and it's gonna be really cool, and you will bring the attention, get the attention, and don't waste the time to think something about something, I know, something not important in your video. So yeah, it's a good trick. And the next one is to how to catch the attention. Yeah, that's a very important thing for Facebook and for social media at all, because there are a lot of videos in the social media right now, and you're scrolling in your phones, on your smartphones, and it's very hard to stop scrolling and to begin to watch some of these videos. And how to hook the attention of this viewer, of the audience? Well, the only thing is to do something weird, to do something strange, and to make something, I don't know, dynamic. Well, even in the cinema right now, the companies, the Marvel company or whatever, they try not to start from titles lately. They starting from dynamic fighting or whatever. They do something very involving. So it's not something. So it is not titles. Definitely don't do titles on the beginning of your video. Just forget about that, because you can put titles on the description of your video or something. You can put logo in the end of your video, but at the beginning, it's very important to make something strange, enormous, and create an absurd conflict, for example, to make people to grab their attention and like, whoa, what's going on in this video? I just wanted to look at it, and this person stops, and after that you hook the attention, and you got good to start your video from the scratch. You can use even E structure. So it's E structure because you can try to begin your story not from the beginning of your story, but from the middle of your story. So from some difficult situation of your character, of some strange happening, or some dynamic thing. I don't know, the car is running through the hills or whatever. And after that, you're telling this title like 3 months ago, and starting from the very beginning, and start to say about talk about the exposition and showing the character and so on and so on. But First of all, you have to grab the attention, and this is the essential thing, because without that, nobody will see your video, even will not put the attention and don't think about that, even. So everything you do right now, doing a video will be nonsense, will have no reason to. So this is the most important part, I think. Yeah, and as I know, I think you will be doing the documentary filmmaking more, the reportages and interviews. And to make a good story in interviews, it has to be original. There are a lot of different topics in the world, but it's better to find something unusual and something, some insight in this story. So there are a lot of stories about painters, for example. And to make a good story about a painter, you have to find something, I don't know, this painter could be on drugs or something, or can be a drug dealer or whatever, or he can be a sailor and he could go into sea and paint while he's there. Like, there are a lot of strange and unique characters, and you have to find out some of them and find out the story that he's trying to tell you, because all the people that is everywhere in this world try to tell you some story. Just know that. Even this person don't want to tell you and say that he's don't allow you to shot or something. I believe and I know that every person tried to tell you some story, and think about that too. And the strong contributor, people want to make a documentary. What making documentary the good contributors is the essence, because you have to be connected to it. Remember, I said about empathy. So the contributor is the essential thing, and the narrative. So your story don't has to stand on the one point. Like something's going to happen. Like your character have to be developed in someone else, probably. So something has to be transformed, and your story has to be transformed. So you're starting from the one person and finishing with another. So this person is a sailor who is a painting. He is a painter. And till the end of the story, this person can go somewhere to some islands, for example, and think that painting is not so important in his life, and now he's not a painter. So he was starting from being a painter and finished he's not. So you have to find out this transformation, find out how your story developing. Without all this developing and movement and the action, there is no story, there's no conflict. It is like your character is sitting where he sits and doing what he's done, and nothing changes. That's nonsense. So yeah, that makes a good story. Even in short films, even in interviews, like the best interview is where the character thinking about something, like talking with the psychologist, and this character thinking about something until the end of this interview, he realized something, and this is very important for him, and he like came to this interview with some, I don't know, bad emotion, and finally he finishes it with some ideas or something. So he developing even in interview. So I'm not talking about the storytelling without documentaries. I'm talking about even the documentary filmmaking. So everything have to be changed during your storytelling to make it more interesting. And let's talk about all this. So we find out all this and understood how to make a good visual storytelling. So yeah, we didn't talk about the script today, because after you know all this information that we covered today, you don't have to think about how to write a script. You will write it down as fast as you can, because there will be no problems. The problems came from all this focusing. You don't know what to shoot and what is the purpose of all that. And you have to find out that, and then you're gonna go to and write a good script. I believe that. So firstly, you have to find out why are you doing all this, for what reason, what's gonna be an idea of what you are doing, and etc. So after that, you put your thoughts in the synopsis and logline. You write it down and make it shorter as you can. Leave only important information on the paper. After that, find out who will be your character, where gonna be your conflict, what gonna be your conflict, and the vector of the story, all this developing, and etc. And the empathy and the suspense and all that we have covered today. Choose the format for your video and the platform, Instagram, Facebook, the cinema, or offline, online, whatever you want, but find out what it's gonna be. And don't forget about the hook. As I said, it's the most important part of all of this, because the hook will grab the attention of the viewer, of the audience, and with the help of the character, the conflict, the empathy, you will keep this attention until the end, and hopefully, if this is a good film or video, you will get the echo in the end. So the people will finish watching your video and think over what was going on there, like about the story, about the topic, about the idea, and sharing, commenting, and subscribing. That what I ask you to do right now, because if you want to know more about the storytelling, we will have much more videos about that. So subscribe to the channel, and this was a long story short. My name is Yakymchuk. Thank you, see you next time. And right now, probably I would answer some question if I had so. Well, let's see. If you have some question, if you'd like to ask me right now, you can continue. You can comment it on this video, and I'm gonna answer you. Probably about storytelling or some of these topics, or about Odyssey or Punchline Film. There are a bunch of them, and we definitely can't talk about all of them, but maybe something was important for you to discuss right now. So if you have such question, you can ask me. And again, if you'd like to write down some logline or synopsis, well, synopsis is too big, probably the logline, you can write it to the comments. I'm not sure that I can read it right now, but I will, after the video will end, I will read your loglines, if you would write them, and I'll comment something and answer your question after this video. But now, if you have some, you can also ask me. Where is the point when absurd starts in the beginning becomes too absurd to believe in? I mean, the audience should be along with the hook. It should be something from real life experience for everyone. Well, that's a good question. The absurd has to be like, it has to be real. It has to be connected to your story. well, of course, is not going to be something weird as much as it could be, but it could. Like, point when absurd starts in the beginning becomes too absurd to believe in it. Well, it's not so important for an audience to believe in an absurd in the beginning of the video. It's not your purpose. Your purpose of this hook is to hook the attention. That's all. After this absurd episode, you're gonna have the normal great story that explains everything. That's better to show something in first, like you're showing some cards of yours, like you're playing poker and you're showing one card, and after that we play further. So you're trying to show how it's gonna finish, to make a prediction, to create this prediction in this audience. So if they will get this prediction, they will be like forced to find out if they are wrong or if they are right. So you are playing the game with them. Like I'm saying to you right now, I should start this video not from my name is less and something. So I should start it from, well, you know nothing about video storytelling, because video storytelling is absurd. As I said that, you think like, what did he say right now? Like, what is this? And you are interested why I'm said that, and you try to find out what was that, and that's why you're gonna watch to this video. And after that, I'm gonna tell a lot of information, and you will understand that I meant that absurd is to, I don't know, to call storytelling all that we are doing right now, because it's not a storytelling, it's something else, for example. Yeah, but yeah, be creative in that. Hope I answered your question. And if you have another one, please write it. Any books or podcasts you recommended about storytelling? Well, there are some. I can even find it probably just a second. Firstly, it's better to watch a film riot. You can find that you can find this in your in the YouTube. The film riot is really great in this storytelling stuff, and well, I'd better show you and write it to you in the comment of this video or in the description of this video. Gonna lead you to some good webinars or the bloggers who can say more about the storytelling, and yeah. So just wait for them, because they're gonna be hard for me to find out all of them in the stream. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for your attention. Again, don't forget to subscribe, to like this video, because we're trying to do good content to explain you how to make good videos and stories for the NGOs, to make your communication and ideas be shown to the world, like because it is important. And I hope, and I'm pretty sure that your ideas will be shown, will be connected and communicated to this community finally. So thank you very much. See you next time. This was a long story short. My name is Yakymchuk. See you and goodbye.